Welcome to the Friends of MCTV's 10th Anniversary Special Program, celebrating the Friends' 10 years of support for Midland Community Television. During the program, we will reminisce about, discuss, and project into the future various aspects of community television programming in Midland. We'll begin with a discussion among some of the MCTV producers and program hosts, and then there will be a discussion among video teachers and students. The MCTV staff and sports crew members will share some of their thoughts, and the Friends of MCTV board members will talk about the background and the future of the Friends. Between segments, and sometimes within each segment, we'll watch some video that will help tell the story.
You're watching Midland Public Access Television, Cable Channel 3.
Michelle, it's my understanding that there's currently a need for foster parents here in Midland County. How urgent is that need?
It's pretty urgent right now. We placed a number of kids recently, and we were looking for homes for more boys and some more females also.
Looking out the window, there's a lot to see out there.
Hello, this is the roving reporter, Linda Malacadelli. Today we're at Mid-Michigan Regional Medical Center to go along on one of their tot tours.
On the inside, so it gives you a lot of, so you get a lot of tones like that. So, but this is the most, I like the center the most. So, but that's a djembe. Yep.
Joining me in this first segment are Linda Malacadelli and Judy Keel, two ladies who have each produced and hosted many programs during the 32 years that MCTV has been in existence. Let's start with a description of what goes into producing a program for MCTV. Where do you get an idea? What is the impetus for starting that?
Well, quite often things just pop in your head, or you're involved already in an organization, for example, like when I did the Recycle This television program. I was on the board of the recycling volunteers, and the city was about to start recycling for things like Huntington's disease update. I was on a board with Huntington's disease, and we wanted to bring about awareness of Huntington's disease to the community. So many different ways like that.
Sure. In my background, I taught the video communications class for a number of years, and we had our own program that was unique to just the class itself. So a lot of the production that I've done has been overseeing what the students produced on like a fairly monthly basis. And I've produced some things for, like you said, some of the organizations that I belong to.
And some producers just get an idea and say, I'd like to,
it could be a great creative outlet. I mean, that's, yeah, that's the nice thing about being
I took a vacation, I want
access.
to make it. Once you get the idea and the creative juices start flowing, then what is the next step in the process?
Well, then you have to think about what does it take to make it real, and maybe it's going to be a production that just takes place in the studio, like where we are right now. This is a fairly self-contained space, and most of the things that a production is going to need are already here. If the production is going to take you outside the studio, then you have to start thinking about, well, where are we going to be shooting? Take a look at that ahead of time, figure out what the needs are as far as the equipment that you'll have to reserve and bring in, how you access it, whether you can access it at all, and you know, how are you going to make it look good in the shots and so forth. So that they call that site survey.
And everything you must consider, even how long of a mic cord you need to connect your mic to the camera as well, running cords to electricity, or if you got enough battery reserve.
Yeah, it's a really neat three-dimensional puzzle to put together. I like it from that standpoint.
You have the idea, you're taking a look at what you might need for production values, and then you have to communicate that to other people, to production teams, to your talent, so on, and that comes from, I presume, actually setting down a script or writing something out?
Oh, absolutely. We create mostly, I think, because we're not professional television people, but we're kind of semi-professional, we make script outlines, and so we make bullet points and questions and answers that we want to get and give. And particularly, say, if you're doing a Huntington's disease update, I want to interview someone about what their is going on in their life, well, I need to know ahead of time what kind of questions I'm going to ask them, and if I'm asking them the appropriate questions that they have the answers for. So quite often, like we do with our community focus program, we'll set up a pre-interview and we'll go through things like that and get an
Sometimes I'll start with what I would call a treatment, just a description of what I think it's going to look and sound like when it's all done. And then I start thinking about, okay, what specifically, who's going to say what when? Where's the action going to be? If it takes place outside the studio, how much movement, how many different locations are there going to be? And then put it together in a shooting script.
And once you get to that point, then you're obviously, that will help generate who you're going to interview, if you're going to interview, or where you're going to shoot. So what we would call a talent, the on-screen people, and then behind the scenes of production, you'll need to line those people up, as well as if you're going out in the field, you'll need to get the reserve the equipment from here. If you're going to use a studio, you need to reserve the studio space and ultimately editing time too. Hosting, we've all done some hosting. When you have a kind of a question and answer format, you want to have someone as a host who is somewhat familiar with the material, so that they can again ask the right questions, because usually you want your guests to give the answers. And I find myself, when I host, I always have my notes, because I can't keep it all in my head, so I have my notes to refer to and bring out the good questions.
And whoever's producing also is responsible for like set direction and what we're doing with the set. Like today I came in and I had an idea of what I wanted to do with this set, because it's different from other things we've done, and so I just kind of pulled out some plants and pulled out, I knew we wanted, you know, the chair and a couple of a table and a few chairs. We wanted the rug. All right, let's do some plants. What color of the carpet do you
And it's nice that here at MCTV we have a choice of some generic things that we can use, and that's fun too.
So we're all set. We have the set, we have the guests, we have the host, we have, or we have, maybe have some B-roll footage from outside. Now we go into production. What does that look like from a producer standpoint?
Well, that's a lot of fun, I think. Editing is where you put together what you like, and you add the, like after this program, we're talking about the video right now that we actually haven't really in real lifetime put on yet. That will be added in the post-edit, so we will drop in the video according to how much time we need or where we want to put it, drop in the video or pictures of things that we're talking about at the time.
Yep, that's one of my favorite parts. Of course, the production itself only happens like in a discrete one-time thing. It might be over several days, but usually it's just like within an hour or two. And then what Linda was talking about, that's my favorite part, the post-production, where you get to make it into a 3D piece, something that really has all of its complex parts put together like a quilt almost.
And I think another point to be made there is that this is the point where the producer can make sure that their vision, their viewpoint gets across, because you're editing, you're picking out pieces, you're leaving out pieces in order to get the right viewpoint that you want to get across.
Exactly.
And that's where you see if all your planning worked out too, because you have to shoot the right stuff in order to be able to pick it out and put it together afterwards. If it's not there, you can't use it.
Can't invent it after
That's
the
right,
fact.
you can't reinvent it.
Well, we have been talking about some of the issues and challenges that a producer needs to address as a show or program is brought to fruition. Over the past 32 years, hundreds of volunteers have produced thousands of shows which have aired on MCTV. In the next segment, Billy Bethune and Dan Tuma will join Judy to discuss the educational process that allows members of the general public access to the equipment, the facilities, and the staff of MCTV.
Hi, my name is Tony Altimore, and welcome once again to MCTV's Dirty Socks. With me today are 4 area students to discuss the new changes happening in the Coleman schools. Well, let's get on to our topic. Kurt, why don't you start off by telling the viewers a little bit about what some of the changes are that's been happening in Coleman?
Well, some of the changes in our schedules is that we've had, at first we had a budget cut and our millage couldn't pass, so now that we've got money through the state, we've been able to get our busing back, and we also were able to hire 2 more teachers, which changed our schedules because they made our classroom sizes smaller now.
So, Melissa, where are we now?
We are in the lowest level of the library. This is known as West Mechanical. And down here we house all of the equipment that heats and cools the library. Behind us is one of the most crucial parts of the renovation, and that's a new chiller. The chiller cools the library so that you're comfortable on the hottest days in the summer.
What?
Teaching TV production is a key piece in making community access TV a viable option for citizens to share their creative ideas, spread information, or voice opinions. Since its inception over 30 years ago, staff at MCTV have taught hundreds of community members, from youth through senior citizens, how to create TV programs. I'm Judy Keel. As a Midland resident who has both learned video production at MCTV and had a chance to teach it to Midland County high school students here at MCTV, I'm happy to share this segment of our program today with Billy Bethune, MCTV producer and lead instructor, and Dan Tuma, our local video producer and a former student of ours in Midland Public Schools video communications class. Hi guys, it's great to be back on the set with you.
Oh man, it's awesome having you back.
Good to be here. Thank you. I have a question first to Billy. Training at MCTV, I think that's just an absolute terrific deal for anybody to take advantage of in the community. What are some of the video production aspects a community member can learn here?
Well, you can learn how to produce a television show that you can do right here in the studio at MCTV. We have field equipment that we instruct people on how to use that, so they can go out if there's an event happening within the community that they would like to share with the community. We show them how to use that. We don't really like to call it too much training classes because then people get the, this is going to be horrible.
Yeah.
But it's more of a workshop, so you can gain a better understanding of not only how television as a whole works, but specifically how community access television works.
And what it can do for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how often is that training available?
We offer it the second Saturday of the month. There's only a couple of months that we don't offer it, and it's mainly because when we get around the holidays, it gets kind of tough for people to have a commitment, because there is a time commitment for it also. We offer a studio orientation class, workshop. I caught myself there. So that folks can get an idea on what's involved in this. How do I really become involved in this? And for some, they may not want to participate. They just want information about how it works, because they may have seen staff or volunteers out in the community and would have questions about that.
Sometimes people come as designated people from their organizations to find out about it too.
Exactly.
So is there any cost involved?
The training itself, the workshop that we offer, there's a $20 charge for that. And then there's a $25 access user fee that a person pays to be able to use our equipment throughout a period of a year. That enables them to not only use studio gear, field gear, but also to use our message board channel, which is pretty cool, because when you become a member with us, if you know of somebody that's having a birthday or an anniversary, you can submit a message to that board and it will run. And everybody in the city will see that.
Just think who you could do that to.
Oh, I have a few.
Pretty impressive.
Get on that.
So, Billy, if you had to guess, about how many people do you think you've trained to use equipment here at MCTV?
Oh gosh, a lot. That's the best answer. I mean, when we look at the summer video camp that we've had here at MCTV, when I look at the training workshops that we've had here, I have tour groups that come through that want to learn about they want to see a television station.
Sure.
So it's in 15 years I've been here, there's a lot.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can put it.
Well, I just did a little bit of rough math, and I figured that just in the MCTV and the Midland Public Schools partnership that for the video communications class that I was involved in, over 14 years, I think we taught about 200 high school students how to be video producers.
Oh.
And some of them right now actually pursuing careers in electronic media. And one of those video professionals is right there with us, a student for us back in the day, and that's Dan Tuma. We're
Hello, how
glad
are
to
you?
have you with us, Dan.
Yeah.
Dan, you're a Midland High School grad, right?
That's correct.
What year?
So 2006, I had my 10-year high school reunion 2 months ago. It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it is, and it's making me feel like a really old deal. What were some of the experiences you remember about having from MCTV?
Sure. So I love this place. It's sort of a second home, non-biasedly. But I was able to come as a junior in high school, partly at Dow High School at the time, and then going to Midland second half of the day. But I would come here as part of training during class, as you being my professor, teacher. And that's where I kind of got my feet wet here, and it was a lovely time. And then years later, about 4 years later, I came here to edit a short film that I had directed and produced, namely, it was called Wake Up.
Yes, I remember
and I had such fun producing that, and I'm so grateful for the staff here at MCTV for allowing me to use their facility to edit that.
Yeah. So where's your career taking you now?
Right. So since that point, I've been able to graduate from college. God bless. And basically, it's given me the opportunity to pursue my own entrepreneurship and be a business owner right here in this community.
That's great. So, I was thinking about, Dan, if you were going to produce a promo to recruit community members to take MCTV training, what would your talking points be, or what would one be?
Right. So, for me and what I do in my own business, shameless plug, Dan Tuma Media.
Yeah, there you go.
Is I usually focus on storytelling.
Okay.
And so what I would probably start with is talking about why MCTV does what they do.
Okay.
You know, what's the purpose, what's the cause, and the belief system, if you will. And then that'll wrap the audience around, you know, kind of get their heartstrings pulled a little bit, and then they'll be able to maybe get interested.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's got a story, right?
That's right.
Billy, I'm not going to ask you that because you have produced promos. All right, so here's what I know what mine would be. MCTV training gives anyone in the community tools to be part of a production crew, become a community voice, or take off on a career in electronic media. How's that sound?
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome.
I like that a lot.
Okay, cool. Guys, thanks for sitting in on the show.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, after some clips of student productions and some of Dan's professional work, we're going to hear from Ron Beacom, Matt Richardson, and Jason Harper. They're going to be talking sports on MCTV.
Okay, I will take it. I bet that guy owns a shake weight. Listen, I wouldn't worry about the interview tomorrow, man.
Since we were on last.
It has been. The blow drive telethon was way back in January.
We're not slackers. Come on, I mean, we gotta show them what we've been doing.
Here's our first segment, a project we worked on for teachers here in Midland and Bullet Creek. Career Pathways.
Hi everyone, welcome to the brand new Midland Civic Arena. Alongside Billy Malton, my name is Jason Harper as the Midland High Chemics prepare to take on the Dow High Chargers in the first Midland Dow matchup here at the Civic Arena.
Next roll, back to pass. He finds it's a hook and goal, and he's got it! What a play! Michael Albrecht down the sideline all the way to the 2 or 3 yard line.
12 seconds left in this district matchup. The Chemics inbound the ball to Maura McAfee. Jessica Walter across midcourt. Walter, couple of dribbles, clock down to 5. Walter in the paint, the bucket and the foul!
We're tied with 2 away. There's a fly ball into the right field. It's going to be a base hit going to the fence. Beatty is going to score, and the Loons win in the bottom of the 9th.
How about that? How about that? And these guys don't enjoy playing this game. Take a look at that.
Oh, no doubt about that.
Hello and welcome back to the Friends of MCTV's 10th anniversary show. My name is Ron Beacom. I'm the manager of MCTV and Library Communications. In this segment, we'll focus on changes in technology over the years at MCTV, and we'll talk sports at MCTV. Now, you just saw a small sample of highlights. A couple of those clips featured the voice of one of our own guests, Jason Harper. Jason's been volunteering at MCTV since he was a young teenager. He's gone on to earn MCTV's highest individual honor, the Edith Doyle Community Award, with his dad, Joe. And he's a member of the team of MCTV sports volunteers inducted into the Midland County Sports Hall of Fame class of 2011. Our other guest is MCTV's own Matt Richardson, our production director since 2008. Matt recently led MCTV's technical facilities upgrade, taking us from the analog to the digital age in video production. MCTV and Matt, our staff and Matt, have won several Philo T. Farnsworth Regional Video Contest Awards for their work here. So welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So Matt, for our viewers, what does it mean when I say we've gone from the analog to the digital age? Boil that down.
Well, one of the easiest ways to explain this to people who don't really understand the technology is to say it's the difference between a typewriter and word processing on your computer. The analog version would be a roll of film, or in the digital version it's all ones and zeros data. But basically what it comes down to is better quality picture, better quality sound, and a lot more flexibility and the sort of creativity that we can put into these programs, things like that.
What has it meant to the workflow here? Get in, get a little inside baseball for us.
Well, the workflow used to be cumbersome at best, because you're moving product from one old format to another old format, and it's just kind of a rinse and repeat process. But now, with all file-based is the term that we use, every piece of video is a file. You can move it around, manipulate it, change it, enhance it, slow it down, speed it up, whatever you want to do in the blink of an eye. So
there's really no loss in quality.
No loss in quality, which is one of the beautiful things compared to the old technology, which had a generational loss. Every time you did something to it, it essentially would lose quality.
And people got that experience at home, just moving from audio from one music tape to another to another.
Yep, exactly.
So what has this technology change meant to our sports coverage? Give me some examples there.
Well, first I would encourage everybody, if you see our trailer out there, to just come on by and take a look at it, because it's just awesome, and I can't really talk about all of its features in here, but some of the biggest, coolest things that we have are a multi-camera instant replay with super slow-mo capabilities, which is very cool. One of the newest toys that we just implemented is a telestrator, which if you've ever seen any sports on TV, you've seen a coach doodle on the screen. We've integrated that. We have the ability to do productions as complex as any other outlet in the state, or as simple as just a handful of people, because we're flexible, and because it's all digital, it's all computer based. You know, you need a lot of people or you need fewer people. So there's a lot more to it, but those are some of the coolest toys that we've put in there. So,
well, let's go back 25 years, Jason, or over the past 25 years that you've been involved. Share with our viewers how you and your dad, Joe, used to produce sports coverage on a smaller scale. We called he and his dad ESPN2. They took out a smaller unit compared to our old production trailer. Go ahead.
Right. The trailer would be used for the big productions, and then we wanted to start doing some of the smaller sports and start to do more games where we didn't have to have the staff involved. And so we took out the mini EFP, which was basically a system where you could have 2 cameras and all the announcers and everything all set up. It wasn't as big as the full production, but it still had quite a bit of equipment that you ended up loading into a car and taking out with you.
And what did I start calling your dad because of that ability to load his car?
Jigsaw Joe. I had an old Saturn at the time, and not the biggest trunk in the world, and with all the equipment, nothing would fit until he got out there and he would start, putting, you got to put the camera this way and the box of power cords this way and everything. So you watched him do it one day and you said, he's putting things in like a jigsaw puzzle. And so that's how he got the nickname Jigsaw Joe.
What initially motivated you to get involved in MCTV back when you were a kid? You still are a kid, but when you were a real kid.
I was, really young when I got interested in it, and I'd been doing some public address announcing, and I kind of, I always enjoyed sports, and I wasn't the world's greatest athlete, but I liked being around sports, so I kind of had the idea, somebody mentioned MCTV, and I was like, yeah, that'd be great. Well, at the time, I was too young to take the training. That's where I had to get my dad involved. Was that, if I want to do this, you have to do it with me, and I talked him into it, and one thing led to another, and boy, that was a long time ago.
Well, and I got to take a second and say to our viewers, it's a great experience to get involved in MCTV with your child. I mean, you and your dad did it. My boys are now in their mid-20s. I didn't force them to get involved in MCTV, but they enjoyed it, worked on productions with me. I think of the Zitlows, the Pavliks, there's some others I'm not thinking of, Kate and Gina Lee, Ennis, yeah. There's a mother-daughter who got involved in working on sports productions, concerts. So it's something to do. Why do you keep doing it?
I think it's a way that I can give back to the community. I still enjoy going to the games. I still enjoy doing the broadcasts. It's something that, the time commitment, is I got older and more responsibilities isn't there as much, but I still enjoy doing it. And so it's my way of just kind of, volunteering for, a few dates every, winter and kind of giving back and still having fun.
And let's talk about that for a second. What's been a highlight for you in your 8 years here with our sports coverage?
For sports coverage? Well, one, the trailer or mobile production unit we were using before was fantastic. Not really seen amongst other PEG centers like ours. So it was great to be able to use that my first few years, and it was great to be able to transform that into the new one. So obviously, the creation of the new mobile unit is probably one of my technically related highlights of sports production. But,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say on a personal level, it's always more fun just being out there with people like Jason. The volunteers are the ones that make these things so much fun to just be involved in, so it goes beyond the technology, and it's these just crowds of people that we have helping on these things. So.
Well, and I should point out to our viewers as well that earlier this year, our new mobile unit, our trailer, was featured at a trade show down in Lansing that even broadcasters were surprised. So that's a credit to our community, our city government, whatever, that we're able to acquire something like that and put it together. What's been a highlight for you, Jason?
There's a lot of them. There's so many games that they all kind of blur together. We saw a highlight of one of them was the Midland High Dow High game that was played at Saginaw Heritage a few years ago, where Jessica Walter hit the game-winning shot with no time left, and that is a moment that stays with me. Bullet Creek's girls basketball run from a couple of years ago was fun to follow them as they made it down to the semifinals in East Lansing. So there's a lot of games. The buzzer beaters, the blowouts. Through the years we've kind of watched them all.
Well, that's the beauty of sports is you can't script the drama. When you get those magic moments, like last Friday's, we're taping this in mid-November, but the Dow High playoff game last Friday against Fenton was just spectacular. It was a lot of fun. Well, I want to thank you both for appearing on the show and for your efforts year-round at MCTV. I'd encourage our viewers to get involved. Our sports coverage, while it's a lot of work to set up and make happen, it's also a lot of fun. Coming up in our next segment, you're going to meet some members of the Friends of MCTV who created these shirts and went to City Council several years ago in support of MCTV. Their initial goal was to raise money for equipment, which they helped us buy some new cameras a few years ago, and also community awareness and support. So coming up next, the Friends of MCTV.
Why do you taste like corn?
You taste like Pepsi. Have you been snorting Pepsi?
Coke. I snort Coke. Oh, not kid, not appropriate. Not appropriate. No.
It's appropriate for pigs. We have pigs do it every morning.
I sniff Tang. Do your pigs taste like Coke? Oh. Oh, wow.
With your excellent host, Ron Beacom.
Party!
Party!
And this is my excellent partner, Ron Brown.
Party on, Ron.
Party on, Ron.
Excellent.
Well, we're here today for MCTV's Honors Night. Party! What we're going to do is honor the volunteers who provide many hours of community service to the city of Midland at Midland Community Television.
Hello and welcome back to Community Voices, a Friends of MCTV special. I'm Linda Malacadelli, President and a founding member of the Friends of MCTV. Our final guests today are Friends of MCTV board members Jim Malik, Judy Keel, and Ron Beacom, who is also the MCTV manager. Ron, tell us about the beginnings of MCTV.
Well, MCTV first cable cast message board and video back in October 1984. It was a result of about a 2-year process involving a Citizens Advisory Commission, city staff, and the interest of what was called Garrity Cablevision to get into a longer franchise agreement to provide cable TV services in Midland. In the early 80s, a lot of communities around the country were starting to get into having these community channels. So the city of Midland negotiated for space on the spectrum, which were channels, 2 to begin with, and eventually grew to 4, and also a franchise fee. So we collect a 5% of charters' gross revenues in the city of Midland for the services they charge, the prices they charge for video, and that's our franchise fee. So that's essentially our budget. So that's how MCTV got started in 1984. Used to be located underneath the library auditorium, and then moved over here about 23 years ago.
Yeah, and you became station manager in
1989, September 1989.
27 years, eh?
Yes,
oh,
ma'am.
wow. And I became a volunteer in 1990 when my daughter was at Midland Montessori School and they wanted to put on a school picnic. I said, let's put something on MCTV. And so I came down and discussed this with Ron. And Ron, of course, as he does very well, he talked about what are you going to do? What do you want to get out of this, and so forth. And then the roving reporter was born. So let's talk about early years and give our viewers a background on the early history and what early public access television was like in our community. For example, here are some video tapes that we used to use. We've got the giant one that we started with, and then the second one I think that Judy has there is for B-roll.
It says the Great Flood of 1986.
Oh, so that's an old one.
Some people will remember that one.
This one here is from 1998, Rhapsody Rendezvous, and Jason Harper, who will be later on the show, actually taped this. And then that's our VHS tape, and then we moved to the small DV cam tapes, then the even smaller ones, and now we have just this tiny little tape. That was not a tape.
Memory card.
Memory cards
Yeah.
that we use, like in our cameras and so forth.
Not nearly as heavy to carry around, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what about different things throughout the years and equipment-wise? And then we changed cameras several times, haven't we?
Yeah, the technology's evolved over the years from the 3/4-inch tape, as you point out, now to the mini card. I mean, the concept of the camera is the same. It's essentially a piece of glass, a lens, and then some device to record what you capture. And then the editing process has gone from tape to tape to nonlinear, so it's all done in a computer. but the work that's involved for the people to run camera, to run cables, to run audio, to set up all the cameras like at a ball game like we did recently for the high school football playoffs, that works the same. It's more just how it's acquired and then how the technology's evolved to get better and better. We're getting closer and closer to how the human eye sees things, but we're still not there.
Getting cool. Very cool. Now, public access television, there are regional and national organizations. Are you members of that? Have you been, Jim, have you been to some of these conferences in the past?
I have not. Actually, I'm the new kid on the block in this area. I just started in 2000 when I retired from Dow Corning. So my experience has only been the last 15 years or so.
Yeah, yeah. But there are regional and national organizations, and you've been a part of that.
The Alliance for Community Media that MCTV's been a part of for a long time. I had leadership roles, the head of the state chapter on the regional board. We've held a couple regional conferences. There are centers like these, different forums around Michigan, Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky is our region. It's national, and the whole concept is community media. It's a First Amendment free speech forum, so let's make an effort to protect that so the public has a way to communicate with each other without the constraints of commercial speech.
And that's one of the things that makes it such a big selling point for our community government, that we're doing a community service by having this station.
Yeah, that's true.
And the government got involved because they wanted to make sure that they were communicating with the public. And we had volunteers doing the city council meetings and planning commission meetings for a long time. Then the city council said, well, we need to do a little more. That's when Ron set up the system where we have now. We have 6 part-time people that do nothing but televised city meetings.
Oh wow, there's a lot of city meetings going on. Our government's very involved, and our community is very involved with our government here. So we're very lucky in that aspect. And our community is very involved with MCTV and putting many different shows on. We have put all kinds of different shows. Judy, what are a few different kinds? We have church shows.
Oh,
we have,
golly, yeah. Church shows. There's shows that feature the arts in the community, which we're really blessed with. A lot of presence of the sports coverage in town.
Right.
And that would be high school and also amateur sports here in town too, and even professional sports now.
Yeah.
Golly, what else? Individuals put on their own programs, either just for entertainment purposes or for instructional, informative kinds of things.
We have had yoga shows on, I believe, and what's the name of that one show? Stretch Your Mind, Stretch Your Body, Stretch Your Mind.
Exercise program, cooking, you name it. We've even had talent shows that we've sponsored here. I've been really involved with the educational aspect. We've trained a lot of students here through collaboration with MCTV and the school system. We've used MCTV as a training laboratory, if you will, for our schools. So
it's all different. Nonprofits get their information out there, and then we've got a lot of just fun shows. Like some of my favorites have been Playland, where some guy got in front of the camera and he just played with some toys, and there was a little setup of a kid's toy set is what it was, and he had them with strings, and he sat on the floor and he played with them, and that was his show. And we've had one, who was that did the aquarium show?
Fred Dingman. Police officer did that in his spare time, where he captured fish tanks, and people enjoyed watching that.
He just went to various people who had fish tanks and set up his camera in front of them for half an hour or whatever, and recorded that. And now you see that, you can find that on those upper channels where you can watch just music. They've just got sound, different kinds of music. You can choose genres of music, or just waves crashing all day, or whatever. He was ahead of his time on that. And then Ron's World, during our honors night. You started an honors night, 26 years ago?
We have an annual event. It's evolved that it's the Thursday before Thanksgiving. It's our night to recognize our access users for their work year-round. We call it Honors Night. Over the years, every once in a while, we produce something goofy, so we did a takeoff on Wayne's World before there was a Wayne's World movie called Ron's World, and had some fun with that.
Well, we really want to encourage people to come out and use our television station to get the word out, to be creative, to do exercise programs, dance programs, music programs, whatever it is you want to do. Ron, how does one become a volunteer and public access user at MCTV?
Well, the basic concepts are you need to be a resident of the city or county, Midland, or acting on behalf of a nonprofit in the city or county. Some people participate here through their jobs for nonprofits. You need to be at least 12 years or older. For kids, we have video camp twice each summer. For adults, we offer training, and kids can attend training throughout the year, 8 months out of the year. On the second Saturday of the month, we have an orientation studio workshop, followed by a third Saturday of field camera and editing. The cost is $20 for training, $25 for an annual access user fee. That enables you to submit messages. A lot of nonprofits do that. Submit programs or use our production equipment. When you use our equipment, the final product needs to go on our channel, and it needs to be non-commercial in nature. So that's how you can get involved. You don't have to produce your own show. You can just make yourself available and run cameras like Tim's doing right now, and Don, help on ball games, concerts, a lot of things out in the studio. It's a great way to get involved in your community.
It sure is. Well, MCTV has been a tremendous asset for our Midland community, and we greatly appreciate the opportunity afforded us as local citizens to have this fabulous venue to share ideas, to share events and activities with others in the community. And we also thank you, our audience, for watching the special about MCTV and public access television, where you can share your creativity in fun, informative ways, as well as get the word out about your nonprofit organization, your church group, or whatever you feel like. So please join us at MCTV as a public access user and share your world with us.